Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody, to the regular meeting of the Culver Board of Zoning Appeals. My name is Dan Adams, and I'm chairman of the board. Two members with us tonight are Andrew Melcher and Danny Osborne. We have two members not here. John Christ is in Turkey for a month, and Barry McManaway is ill and can't be with us this evening. So we have three members. I want to remind everybody that this meeting is being recorded and is online. So if you don't want to record it, don't say it. We will start with, well, I just did a roll call. We need to approve the October 20th minutes. And I would entertain a motion that we approve it.
Absolutely. And I second that.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve the October 20th minutes. October 20th minutes. Is there any discussion? Aye. Those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, pass 3-0. Get those sent around so that it's not in. Sort it out. All right, this. We only have two petitions on the agenda for this evening. First one. 2022-025. This is petition filed by Daniel Cook. Mr. Cook, are you here this evening? Yes, I am. You have somebody presenting it tonight?
I'll present, sure.
You want to state your name and all for the records?
Yeah. I'm Dean Jones. I'm with Mirror Custom Homes. We are the contractor that's contracted with the folks to build their home for them at 594 West Shore Drive. The Cook started the hiring process for an architect for their home shortly after they sought and received an approval from the Culver EDA on June 17, 2021 to rebuild on the same footprint of their existing homes. Of the existing home, and then they sought and received approval to build up to 35 feet on that same footprint. And that was approved at that time. It took some time for them to find an architect that could take on the project and work with them to design and produce the plans for their home. And the Cooks found and hired an architect, I believe, in the fall of 21. The site proved to be challenging, and through extensive due diligence and multiple contacts with the building commissioner to make sure the footprint and height requirements were sorted out and laid out in a way to meet all the criteria, the architect began designing and working on the plans for the Cooks. Due to the complexity of the design, it took several months to complete the drawings, and they weren't finalized for them until May of 22. Our company then began to work on a bid and a proposal for the home after several meetings with the Cooks. And with the incredible amount of building going on at that time, it took us quite a while to get bids back from contractors and subs and suppliers that were so busy behind on bidding their work. By the time we received all the bids and put together a proposal for the project, it was late last summer. And after bidding the project, we were chosen to build a home for them. Upon filling out the permit application, it was then that it was discovered that the variance that was approved in June of 21 had expired. So in short, the Cooks are seeking the same variance that was approved at that time. The size and scope of the job hasn't changed. And the variance is for a rebuild on the same footprint up to items 35 feet. I don't think anything to add to that or Mr. Easterday, folks.
Do you have any site plans or anything for us to look at? Of course, this is a new board. Well, I guess, were you on the board then?
No, I don't think so. I don't think.
The only two of us were on the board at that point.
This is,
That are here tonight.
correct. Yeah, take a look at that. That dark line is out, like,
JD was still.
And JD was, and very, well, so was Boo, but she was not there then. I'm looking, I haven't really looked at those minutes she gave me from July 15th. I don't see.
You have.
I believe your vote at the time was 4-1 favor, and Boo was absent from that meeting at the time.
I've got four finding of facts, but I don't have any minutes.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Guys, that right here.
15B. See, what I have is 3B. There's 15B, but it doesn't say Cooks on it. I guess that's why.
Oh, no.
Well, it says South Shore Drive though. Oh, wait a minute. I'm completely confused.
That is weird.
Because the
I just printed what was there for that, but you're right, it's.
lie.
It's June, you said June, correct?
7/15/21 what's worked on the finding of.
That's what I have, I've got the, even our.
But I don't have anything in the minutes of it. But it says July 15th. It's different.
that was June 17th, I thought. All right.
July 15th was the meeting.
21, yeah.
Maybe the first time he came was June 17th or June something, but. See, it says Team B there, but that's not.
Right address, seven. This 15B has, record on it.
Sorry,
This is James record.
that's what it has here. See, the big address is South Shore Drive.
Yeah. It's not even the right name. That's the minutes for that name. Here, it's supposed to be 16B, it looks like, see?
See, I don't have that page. The things that will be. Has 17, but I don't have 16. Find the
This is
copy.
not at all. I'm gonna leave that to consider bring it back.
What page from meeting was not there.
And I think our number is off by one, and I just printed based on the number, but it should be 16B.
We, we did not see a site plan the first time we saw it, unless it to discretion of the building commissioner at that point that it would be built on the same footprint. This is the same footprint. We will allow it to be built on the same footprint, but it's the height difference that is the controversy because what the code says at the same height as the present house, which is, does everybody know what the height of the present house is?
I think it's 27 or 30. I'm not sure.
So part of the reason that it took so long was that we met with Jenny and Chuck. And at that time, when we were in here at the meeting, as I recall, that they granted the height variance and they wanted it built on the same footprint. So you guys came out to the house in January and in April
Yeah, with your architect, I think.
with our
that's when-
architect, and then it was at that point that we changed and went off the footprint because it was so close to the road.
Yeah,
So-
Buck didn't want them building,
So
the
in-
property line was like tight with the road.
Right, so
Make it
in
smaller.
April, we had to redo the footprint again because on our current footprint, we have a little thing that comes probably within 5 foot of the road. So Jenny and Chuck came out and we had this discussion, and then it went back to cleansing the road and something. So from the time we got the permit with the height thing up until April, when we brought you guys out, we had the survey and we did everything. And at that time, once again, we discussed this little part that is close to the road. It's right, am I
Yeah.
right in this?
Yeah,
So at that point in April, we then again had to go back, which was fine with us because it is very close to the road, but it does deviate from the original footprint. So at that point, we went back and changed the floor plan to move it away from the road, so it's not so close to the road.
Yeah, Chuck basically told them, I don't want you building this close to, in the right of way. So move this little piece back. And I think at the time he was establishing grade as well.
And so the grade was good, but we agreed at that time that we would redraw the plans again to move it from this little hectagon that comes out of the, out towards the road and set that back. And then so that again was part of the reason that it took so long to get the plans done, and that was in April. End of April, it's April 21st is when we met. I have it on.
I think it was one of the first meetings Chuck took me to.
Yeah, it was, you had just started.
So you still do want to do the original footprint now?
Yeah,
Well,
Minus that. piece.
minus that part, so we're moving it back from the road.
I think Chuck realized they had been approved, but he didn't realize how close that was in right of way. So he asked them to bump that back. That was the only change I think he had
Yeah.
at the time.
The height never changed as far as from the original,
No.
what we actually granted them when we gave them.
The only thing that
variance.
changed was if you drive by the house right now, you'll see there's an octagon that at some point they added on, which was in the original footprint. So when we got it approved on the original footprint, that was there, but it literally is what? Yeah, it's maybe 8 feet from the road. So then Chuck and Jenny came out, we looked at it, we walked it, we checked the grade. And then we went to the right of way and he said, that is in the right of way. Can you please change that part? So that's the only part.
And at
was
that
changed.
time, the architect was trying to establish grade to figure out height, and that Chuck brought that up because he saw it right on site. He said, I don't like this, you're gonna have to bump this back again. But technically, I think the house got a little smaller than the original footprint.
Is anything being done with the parcel that is to the south? The house where the concrete is and
No, we are
as,
in.
not as far as building, is concrete gonna stay there? Is it gonna?
we haven't decided, I mean, we haven't got far enough along with the house to decide what we're gonna do that side. As far as, we're gonna,
Like I said, one of our members that's not here, the one that's in Turkey, Mr. Chris, was asking about if there's still a gas tank buried there from
Yes.
when it was a marina,
yes, there is,
and is that a problem?
not a problem at all, it was closed before 1970 something, so it's. IDEM is fine with it, I mean,
DNR.
obviously, if we had to do something with it, we would have. The only
But we're not even touching
The
that.
only way you would have to do something with is if we dug it up. But we're not gonna dig it up.
DNR has been contacted, the construction is going on in the area
Yeah.
though?
It's not, but it's not even in that area.
It's,
It's not, it is on a different parcel entirely.
yeah.
Well, part of the problem is, yes, it was voted on and it was approved. We only had 4 members that night and it was approved 3-1. And we have only 1 member present that voted yes on it, and I voted no on it. Mr. Melton was not here, so I'm sure he might have a few questions he'd like to ask. we're dealing with a new board, so we can't just say, well, they approved it a year ago, because we're a board looking at it right now. So questions, Mr. Melton?
But I guess, do you recall why you decided not to go?
I think it's way too much house on too small of a lot. I think we're going up to 35 feet there, which is happening in lots of houses over there, and I voted against it on several houses over there. And again, I've been on to doing that, but I still believe it's too much house on too small of a lot. You know, basically and I know the bottom floor is just a lakeside floor and it's not nearly as high, but basically it's a 4-story house on a very small lot, if you look at lakeside.
So because it's a rebuild, does that change? I get, according to this, right, the height structure maximum is 35 feet.
That's what for new construction, yes.
So because.
But if it's putting on the same, if it's being put on the same footprint, and because they have to have a variance to do that, because doesn't meet the setbacks that we have, it says that it can't exceed the height of the present house. And we worked hard to get that changed, because it was just becoming automatic. Well, put it on the same footprint, now we'll go as high as we want. And I think we have way too much of that myself. I'm not just talking about you, but I drive around the lake sometimes and I think we're building a wall around it. There's so many places you can't even see the lake, and it just gets more and more that way. It's very nice if you live on the lake, but if you're live in this area, it's like a wall around it. You can't see half the time around it. And anyway, that was my opinion on it, and I still kind of feel that way myself. I mean, I still feel that way.
I mean, it's an odd shaped lot, correct?
Yes, it is.
So, I mean, I guess my thought is that if it's new construction, that they'd be asking for setback variances as opposed to height variances.
But we're, you know, and if they could meet the same setback, it would be much smaller, because the setbacks are 25 feet from the road. I mean, it's a strange lot. I mean, and we're faced with many strange lots. So,
Do you remember why you voted for it?
I, not, bringing it back up, I just thought that, the plans have been changed, the cooks and the architect changed things to accommodate what we were not happy with, and that there was a compromise there, and that the height thing is something they were within, I think, like 4 or 5 feet of the original height. And, they'd come in front of this board like 4 times, and it was time to make a decision. And that's when we decided that, hey, you know what? It's time to vote on this and approve it or disapprove. My thought right now is that with only 3 people here, and to be fair to the cooks and the developer, that I think that we should table this till we have all members present to have, let them, hear this, because like Dan said, this was not voted on by you or John. And I think that, you should hear, everything before you make a decision on what should be done. That's because obviously Dan is not probably going to be in favor of this. I don't know how he's going to vote. And I'm the one, so, whatever you do, it doesn't matter. It's not going to pass. That's my opinion.
if you guys have copies of the finding of facts, if you read Mr. McManaway's, he said, I believe they are within their right as a homeowner of older home to build on an existing footprint with 35-foot height as ordinance requires for the other new homes. That was his comment. Just wanted you to know that, and Mr. Hubler, confirmation that integrity of or original footprint goes through Mr. DeWitt's office, and we talked about that. And petitioner and Mr. Woodward agree on measurable
Grade.
grade, yeah.
That's why we got called out to establish grade.
So that's the two comments from the other.
Yeah. I read those.
That's the other one.
I mean, that's really all the questions I had.
And it does have to be 3-0 to be approved tonight, and I must admit, I have not changed my opinion on the height.
Well, I suspect we should withdraw. I mean,
Well,
it's not making any sense to continue on.
Mr. Osmond's position to table is quite, Mr. Osmond's position to table it, I think, is quite appropriate based on what we've seen. Yeah, I guess the only question I was asking, that's terrible to say it, but should we go for December or January in terms of attendance? That's the only thing that scares me.
Mr. Chris is supposed to be back by the next meeting.
And we do have another case coming up for December,
Okay.
at least one, possibly two, so,
Historically, December's been a tough meeting for a forum.
yeah. December's meeting is the 15th. You guys know you'll be here at least. Barry's pretty consistent about being here, it's unusual for him to be sick.
What else do we have coming up?
You have another, case that got filed this week. So you'd have at least you'd have two at least.
I will be here. You know, if you'll both be able to be here.
Okay, let's do it December.
I don't know that it is no.
I think John said he'd be back for December. Mary's typically here for all of them.
That's fine.
Okay.
Motion to.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I make a motion that we delay this decision or vote till next meeting.
Okay, it's moved and seconded that we table this to the next meeting. The December meeting, and that's December 15th. All those in favor?
All right.
3-0. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you guys mind if I do the minutes for this meeting?
Thought you were already.
I'm taking the notes. I just want to make sure you're okay with it.
You see any mistake?
Yeah, that's right.
I was hoping if you didn't, John would get it off of the recording. Our second issue tonight. Our next door neighbor here.
Is that where this is? Okay, it's right here.
Yeah.
Okay. It's so cold and dark out there.
No, wait. Mr. Proctor,
So,
go right in.
I'm Richard Proctor. I'm the trustee for Desert Dreams Trust, which owns the property. We are looking at replacing an existing 10 by 14 wood deck with a 10 by 16 deck in the same spot. It will not extend any further to the east or closer to that road, but we are going to bring it up. What we'd like to do is bring it north about 2 feet, the corner of the property, or to the corner of the house at that point. The house actually sits, since it was built in 1934, does not conform with a lot of the setbacks. So as you look at some of the exhibits, there should be a picture there of an existing of where the corner of the house and the deck would go up to. And then it also shows that the house extends out another 5 feet in a, part further down the road. And we're also looking at moving where the stairway is instead of out both directions. We're gonna bring it back in, so it just goes down to the deck. On the south.
Now, we were talking about the fact that this property is
Strange.
very, very strange because the house is basically right on the property line on the
Right.
north side.
Yeah.
But that's a long way back from the street, if you look at it, because the right of way is. Yeah. See that tree, that's on the east side, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah, the trees on the east side.
No, and the only thing I was wanting, Mr. Proctor, was, can you show me? I think this is the drawing you were talking about, and I'm just having trouble.
And
figuring it out.
unfortunately, they print really dark.
Right here.
Can I approach them?
Sure. This is this existing now?
So is he wanting to go over to here with that deck?
So.
It's in the setback, the house is. The house sits almost on the property line,
Yeah, it is. I was trying to figure it out.
on the north side.
So
That's the other, okay, that's the other. I thought this was part of it.
And there's a,
So we're not gonna go any further east.
this is part of the house.
Okay, so he's taking this deck and moving it over.
He's in his corner.
Right now,
So why is that?
okay, so
I
guys,
don't see why that would be.
just moving it to that corner right there of that house, even though this
Six out.
sits right on the property line,
Uh-huh.
but there's a big setback.
Okay, so this is on the property.
Yeah.
That's what we're.
So I'm not doing
I'll
that.
come to here.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's what I was trying to figure out, if it was gonna come to here.
I know.
Yeah, see what you're doing, that's the property line, it's still right on. If he wants to just go to the edge of that.
All right, so as we're looking at this is looking from east to west. And that's right on the property line. There's also a big setback there of grass for the potential sidewalk. But we're just changing out the existing deck and be just bringing it over to the corner of the house. That sort of jets back.
Right.
Those old.
Right.
like, rooms or something.
And that's 5 feet from the property line, which is what the other house, other part of the house.
Is already on it,
Yes.
so you can't really see, I mean, it's,
Okay, but it's a long way back. from the
Get a
street.
variance.
Yeah.
Seems odd.
Well, and like we were talking about yesterday, I mean, that's got setbacks all the way around the street, basically, because it's an alley behind.
Yeah.
What problem?
well, this is kind of what we looked at the last meeting on Liberty, where it was actually wanted to bring the deck out to the edge of the house, which was closer to the 10 feet set, the 10-foot setback.
So this is, yeah, I'm not trying to go any,
They're not turning going further to the house.
no, I'm just gonna go to the edge of the house, and that's not even the furthest, the house juts out another 5 feet.
Right.
A little
But
bit
that's
further
what we're
out.
on, for that just, right, gotcha.
Questions?
Sorry about the aerial not showing up a little better.
It's our printer.
Yeah.
Karen and I tried to get it print lighter. Thankfully, we're getting a new printer soon.
Any more questions? Comments? Any questions from anybody listening in? Radio audience?
Doesn't look like it.
Any questions or comments from anybody in attendance tonight? Okay, we'll move to finding of facts. Say if you answer, no on any of these questions, you have to answer, or you cannot vote for the variance, you have to vote against the variance. And it will take a 3-0 vote tonight. Is that number correct, 98097?
Yeah, I think you've used the county number.
I didn't think that's what it said on the petition.
The petition might have a local number on it. The printout is from the county, but the petition,
Okay,
and you can go by the petition number. I'd love if the county numbers now.
but we'll just put what you have there.
Yeah. We like ours better.
We trust you.
I don't even know how they come up with their numbers.
Yeah. Okay, we ready? Okay, number one, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Mr. Mishner,
Yes.
Mr. Osborne,
Yes.
and Chair votes yes. Use and value of the area adjacent to the property, including the variance, will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Mr. Melchon,
Yes.
Mr. Osborne?
Yeah.
And the chair votes yes. Number three, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the properties. Mr. Melchon,
Yes.
Mr. Osborne,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. I entertain a motion that we approve this variance.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
Second.
Been moved and properly second that we approve the variance. Any further discussion? How do you vote on the variance, Mr. Melchon?
Yes.
Mr. Osborne?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Approved through this. Thank you.
So I update the permit system with their findings, and then eventually the minutes will go up to the county, and then Ty-Atley will sign off on your permit. They're about a week. Been taking about a week to get sign off, but good forward.
Wait for the.
Yeah. But you can get notified once five sums up.
Jenny, I think we're gonna take some of this about this thing.
That's good. Say, we need
Get
another.
that over to the close.
I think he was hoping to get through December on that book. Had a lot of cases.
Okay. Let's put in
I think to the point we can't put 3 years with the BCA meetings in one binder.
any new business? You said we have one more.
Yeah, there was a application for a variance that we'll be advertising for on this coming Wednesday. Then I'm guessing the cooks will come in as well. And I was expecting potentially a third, but I don't think that one's gonna happen. And if it does, it'll be January for that one.
Okay.
I want to talk informally and that may cause another one. If you want me to do it now, you can, it's whatever you want. I've got a really neat project going on 20A Road, down on 20A. It went before the planning commission on Tuesday night. And in both the planning commission, the TRC, and most of the other conversations I've had, someone has always said, well, you have so many months, I think it was 6 months, to remove the building on that property because you folks granted a variance on that for height of the silo. And one of the conditions was, I think, 6 months to take down the building after we started construction. And several people have said to me, well, since the PUD is going to probably be approved, then you don't have to worry about that 6 months limit. That makes me real nervous. That's not the way I do business, to be honest with you. If you guys said one thing, that's what I want to go with. So I'm thinking about coming in to you at the next meeting and say, would you consider extending that 6 month to remove the building? Basically what it boils down to. You remember that whole process? Yeah.
Didn't we say once construction starts? I thought they were using the building to store.
For storage.
Right.
I thought it was
Yeah,
after construction finished.
I thought it was from start.
Is it the whole building they're tearing down or just the residential?
They're gonna tear the whole thing down. Yes. Yeah, it's all gone. They're going to be gone. But they want to use it for construction storage.
Right.
I'll go back and look at that, but I was thinking it was from beginning of, if it's from completion of construction, no problem. But I just didn't want to deceive you folks because you guys did something based upon what you did, and I want to stay with that. So if it's okay, and if it says from start of construction, I'll probably just file a petition to amend the variance to allow 6 months after or something like that.
We probably have that here. I want to look at it.
You can find it.
What was that?
Yeah, if you find it. It's a lot.
The spring. I believe.
Yeah, it was in-
If you want to find it, you want to spend the time trying.
Sure.
So,
March, maybe?
Yeah, March, April.
They should probably, Jimmy, say they have Sage Road with 11 LLC.
right.
Um,
And maybe it's more me than anything else, but I'm real comfortable if I come to you and ask for something and you tell me what to do, I want to follow that. And not say, well, I got a PUD and so that makes
What's
the
the
point.
timeline?
Construction is going to begin, probably in March of the first of 4 buildings. And, then the last building that will be built is the one that's going to be set right on the site of the present structure.
Okay, what it says is, the current primary structure would be torn down 6 months after a certificate of occupancy takes place in the proposed primary structure.
Okay, I'll talk to the engineers and see if they're gonna get a certificate of occupancy for each building, or if they're gonna get it for the whole process, for the whole plan. Okay,
And I don't see if we have any comments.
and I was thinking you folks would probably be fairly amenable to an extension if we need it.
So is the There's a building that came before us, part of the PUD.
Yes, it's part of the PUD and it's gonna be the first building built.
I mean, maybe what the request, if we use to amend it till after the final building is built.
Yes, exactly.
So Jim, I have a question. I was looking through that. I was unable to attend the
I know.
planning.
Yeah, we missed it.
Yeah, I know. I was out of town. I was heading back from California, but anyway. And I'm sure this is not a big issue, but I was looking. On page 21 of that, it said the proposed use will be residential and recreational single-family use. So that applies to that family or in general, single-family use?
Well, the PUD would be, in general, single family, but it would have to be the people that are there. And they're gonna be there as long as I live, I know.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It all of a sudden,
And you
there's not gonna be a bunch of other homes popping up there.
Not at all. Not
Okay,
at
well,
all.
that's what I
And,
thought.
and any amendment to this PUD would require it to go back through the whole process.
Okay.
So basically, we're looking at, 3 different sites. We call the first one the barn, which you
Right.
guys dealt with. Second one, we're calling a clubhouse, but it's really kind of a recreation area. It's got two bedroom living units with it.
Right,
And then the third one is with the field house, and that's gonna be right on top of the present structure. And that's gonna include the pool and the gymnasium and all that stuff. But it's all strictly for that family,
okay, that's what I wanted to.
no commercial.
That's what I wanted to clarify.
And we've been very clear about that, no commercial
Right.
whatsoever.
I,
This is not a hunting reserve.
right, I assume that, but the
Yeah.
way that was worded, I needed to clarify.
Yeah,
Okay,
well, the reason I use the single family residential is because the definition of that includes the extended family. Includes the
Right.
kids.
right, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Anything else, Jenny, that you have?
No,
Next meeting is. That's November 17th, that's not right. December 15th.
December 15th.
November 17th and 23. Can we go a year without a meeting?
Filing question is, what would you request for your treat?
Sorry.
What would you request for your treat? I'll bake something for something holiday-ish.
Based on my
Big
state.
trade in LA.
Turn down.
You and I are in the same boat, chocolate's good.
Lobster tail.
Well, I haven't tried that. I learned white chocolate macadamia that I can do lobster tail. That I might actually participate in, but
Anything you make is good.
Yeah, that's fine.
But we have no. In
Like a
fact,
holiday.
holiday-ish.
yeah, we're not gonna have any holiday stuff around us. Okay. Would entertain a motion to be adjourned.
I entertain that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, been moving from the second. How do you vote on it? Yes, we're adjourned.
Really stuff found out this week.
Good, it works. Do you have, or do you need something for that, for town council meeting?